Ah, okay. Well, here we are. So, welcome to Cackling Carnarium. And this is actually the first episode. It's a spin off from EDH Study Hall. We're actually going to do something called EDH Break Down, where as I go through the Study Hall series and I find cards that, as I go through the history of the game, Breakdown will be an attempt to kind of recap on cards that we recently covered, to look at them in a little more depth and kind of break them down to their basic components and see why they may be better or worse versus something else. And the first one coming up is on Northern Paladin. Northern Paladin came up yesterday in, I think, episode 14, if I got that right. Yeah, Northern Paladin's first one for episode 14. And something that caught my eye was the fact that the wording is it targets a permanent. So what we're going to do here is we're going to look at Northern Paladin. Northern Paladin has 3 other kind of direct cousins as far as this card type, body, casting cost, and ability. Now, Northern Paladin's ability is you pay 2 white mana, tap it, destroy target black permanent. Now, there's in the early years of Magic the Gathering, they kind of retook this same ability and refashioned it for different color, to target different colors. So, staying in white, opposite of Northern Paladin was Southern Paladin. This showed up in the Weatherlight, was reprinted in 7th edition. So it only ever had 2 printings. I believe looks like it was rare in both settings. It was same casting cost as Northern Paladin, same body, same type. The ability was pay 2 white, tap, destroy target red permanent. All right. So, again, so then there were Eastern and Western Paladins as well. The Eastern Paladins and the Eastern and Western Paladins were black cards, and this is where things changed. When we get to Urza's Saga, where these cards actually were first printed, Eastern Paladin, similar casting cost, 2 and 2 black, a 3/3 body, summon Knight. But the abilities read differently. It was pay 2 black, tap, destroy target green creature. And then when it came to Western Paladin, it was destroy target white creature. This is very important that they are only targeting creatures and kind of playing into the limitations that we see when it comes to black cards. Black cards don't target or have a very hard time targeting artifacts and enchantments. When you go to the Northern and Southern Paladins, they have the ability to hit any creatures, planeswalkers, or enchantments that fall into that color scheme. The fact that it says permanent over here in the Northern and Southern Paladins is very, very relevant. Now, there is one other Paladin that was built very much in the same way. It costs a little more. It's a 3/3 body. It's 2 and 3 white mana. It's a 5 CMC. It has flanking, so it takes it knocks if it's going into combat, it brings them down a notch. Flanking being whenever a creature without flanking blocks this creature, the blocking creature gains -1/-1 until end of turn. And what happens is Pentarch Paladin, when it enters the battlefield, you choose a color. And then based on the color that you choose, the ability is pay 2 white, tap, destroy target permanent, not creature, but permanent, of the chosen color. It is the better ability, but the casting cost makes it a little more restrictive. Bear in mind, we're looking at these paladins. They're not the fastest, strongest abilities, but if say you're in mono white, the Eastern Western Paladins aren't really that strong in this context. They're only targeting creatures. That makes them more limited. And in those colors, if you're going to spend 4 mana, you might as well spend them on something better. But the fact that the white paladins target permanence is a big deal, and it caused me to think about, okay, so let's say you don't have Pentarch Paladin, or let's say you're playing mono white and you have Pentarch Paladin and you have the other 2 paladins, Northern and Southern Paladins. What are the odds that these cards would be relevant in the modern, the current state of EDH? Where are the targets? Are they there? Is it worth it? So I went to EDH and EDH Rec, and we looked at top commanders. So when we look at the top commanders, EDH Rec likes to break them down into top commanders of the past week, past month, and the past 2 years. So we're going to count down how many commanders in the past week, month, and the past 2 years are either in red or black, which is going to be relevant. And to see if, commanders can be very viable targets for something like a paladin. So we're going to break this down. So in the past week, of all the commanders showing up on EDH Rec, the cards that are showing up in either red or black, it is commanders of, it is 1, 2, I'll just count them off. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 of the top commanders showing up for in the last week for EDH Rec are in red or white, or red or black. Meaning, if you play the Paladins, you already have a valid target. You'll always have a valid target pretty much all the time, because someone at the table is going to have a commander that they may be counting on, and you will now have a tool to deal with it. Not the fastest tool in the shed, but still, it's something to consider. You go to the past month, I think the numbers are pretty much the same. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 commanders in the past month, also showing up in red or black. In the past 2 years, this is where we might see some discrepancies. We're just going to check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So no matter what time frame you look at, in terms of the popular commanders, if you are playing in a meta where you're seeing this kind of a pattern, you're seeing these new commanders come out, or these strong commanders that stand the test of time constantly showing up all the time in your meta, there is a good chance that, at least at the very least, Northern and Southern Paladins, if you are if you're in white, if you happen to be playing mono white, getting your hands on Northern and Southern Paladins is kind of an additional insurance policy playing against the local meta, because if nothing else, this card is a commander killer. Now, the fact that these target permanents make them even more relevant, you have the ability to being able to target key enchantments or planeswalkers. Planeswalkers is the big deal. I think these cards gain more. They gained a bit more traction when planeswalkers came around and became more popular. So I think in the terms of EDH, there can be room for them if you know you're dealing with a bunch of super friends. You know you're dealing with players who are going for these top commanders, like we're seeing on EDH Rec. These cards are not the worst. The Northern and Southern Paladins and the Pentarch Paladins are actually potentially good cards. The downside is they are slow. So keep that in mind. If you are going to run cards like this, they are slow. Make sure you're running a strategy that can buy you the time to actually get the use out of them. Otherwise, you're going to be spinning your wheels, and that's kind of that. So that I wanted to dig into these cards a little more, just because I thought it was worth considering. I wanted to double check on the Eastern and Western Paladins. The black ones are not nearly as good, but the fact that the Northern, Southern, and the Pentarch Paladins can target planeswalkers, enchantments, even artifacts if they happen to be in a color. There are artifacts that do exist in certain colors. That gives them a bit more reach, and the fact that so many commanders are in one of the two, you basically run Northern and Southern Paladin, just keep them in your deck, and you have a tool to deal with the commanders at large. So there it is. I think it's not my it's not this huge endorsement for them, but it is a consideration if you're looking for removal. And it's, even though you got to be keyed into your meta to know that it's worth it, the chances of Northern and Southern Paladins being functional in your meta are a bit higher, because so many of the commanders are showing up in one of the two colors of red or black. So there it is. That's our breakdown for Northern Paladin. I hope that kind of gives you an idea of a yay or nay on what you want to do with it, whether you want to actually try and experiment with the card to see if they are worth putting into your deck if you're running white, or maybe it's enough to sell it. It's enough to tell you, like, hey, maybe this is a neat idea, but not quite fast enough. If you're playing spiky competitive, like if you're really going for like fast competitive play, this is not it. If you're playing casual, these actually have room. So there it is. That's episode 1 of the EDH Breakdown. I hope that was useful. And as always, please like, subscribe, click the something buttons, leave a comment, tell me a funny joke. And you can find me on Twitter at Johnny Slivers, and also over on Tin Street. Tomorrow is a Tuesday. What is it? Tomorrow I'll be kicking around Tin Street. We're going to be doing a Planeswalker draft. And I think what I might do is, as we kind of make the picks, we'll make a survey. We'll make some surveys on Twitter, and you can decide whether, it'll be based on the leader and the second in command and the muscle. It's like kind of be building a D&D campaign for them. But anyway, tomorrow night at 8:30 over at the They Said We Said YouTube channel with John Denning, we will be doing Tin Street Hooligans, the Planeswalker draft live. So there it is. Hope you like. Shoot me a line, and until next time, have a great day. May your top decks be epic.